you all to our webinar titled Unlocking the Potential of the GitHub Student Developer Pack. I am Abdullah Riaz, event lead for Devathon. So Devathon is Pakistan's biggest hackathon hosted by DevSing. It is happening on the 7th of September here at DevSing D Tower, Lahore. I have with me today a very special guest, PJ METZ, who is the GitHub Program Manager. And PJ is going to be talking about the benefits of the GitHub Student Developer Pack. Over to you, PJ.
Hello, hi. Thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to so many people tuning in and watching, and to create a way to sort of help a lot of you unlock this potential in this product that GitHub is trying to provide for everybody. So a little bit about me, like Abdullah said, I am the program manager for GitHub. I specifically manage a program called Campus Experts. And Campus Experts are some awesome students around the world who are organizing events just like the one you're attending. And there may be a campus expert or two around. If you ask nicely, we can talk about who they are. But I'm just excited to be here with Devathon. I'm excited to be supporting y'all and to tell you about this Student Developer Pack. Now, the Student Developer Pack is a perk only for students. You have to be at least 13. You have to be attending a degree granting institution of some kind. And we want to make sure that students have these opportunities, because oftentimes as a student, it can be hard to get your hands on the tools that will help you become a better developer, because they're expensive and they cost money, and these companies need to make money. But what we discovered back in 2014, when the Student Developer Pack was first released and created 10 years ago, happy 10-year anniversary, SDP as the nickname goes. What we found was an opportunity to introduce students to these different pieces of tech and give them an opportunity to learn directly, because we know as educators that the best way to learn is with your hands, is by doing something. You can sit in the classroom and they can teach you theory, and they can tell you all about how to write things and how to write in Python, or how to write in Rust, or how to write in C. And they can tell you it, but if you're not doing it, you're not really learning. So the Student Developer Pack is an opportunity for learning. So I have shared my screen, and if you can bring it up, I'd love to show you all. This is the Student Developer Pack website. And this is education.github/pack. And if you just do the packet, that'll show you everything about it. But you sign up for it here. But what I don't want to tell you how to sign up yet. We're going to talk about how to sign up in a second. I want to show you what's available. Now, first off, in the Student Developer Pack, they're kind of organizing things into experiences. And once you've applied, you'll be able to see all these experiences. But you start seeing, oh, I want to learn open source. If you're specifically looking to learn about open source, there's a lot of tools that we will give you free access to in order to help you get better at open source. If you want to do specifically AI prompting, there's a lot of tools we have here that can help you specifically with AI prompting. And all of these different experiences are tailored around something specific in tech: web dev, career readiness, specifically Copilot, a hackathon in the cloud, data science and machine learning. All of this stuff is available to you. But what I really, really, really want to show you are all the offers we have. All of these different offers from here down. And I just want to point out right now, over here on the side, you can see where my scrolly guy is. If I scroll all the way to the bottom of this page, that's all offers from different companies who are giving you something for free in the Student Developer Pack. Someone did the math on this, and someone said if you got the Student Developer Pack at 13 years old and kept it all the way through college, you will have earned about $100,000 worth of free software access in your lifetime of the Student Developer Pack. That is a lot of free stuff available. All that's required is that you're a student. We've got Notion, DigitalOcean, Copilot access, Azure access, JetBrains, Namecheap if you want to start making websites. We've got Educative, which is an online learning platform. Heroku, if you want to have some kind of cloud service that's a little bit cheaper than like AWS. I used to use Heroku. Back when Twitter bots were fun to make, I used to make Twitter bots and put them on Heroku. Codidex is a learning platform. MongoDB, if you want a more robust database option. GitLens, GitHub Pages. You can make free GitHub Pages. One site per GitHub account, a free GitHub Pages site that you can host. You got 1Password if you want to be safer with your passwords. I can't tell you all enough. I've been begging my family to use a password vault, and I hope all of you get this Student Developer Pack and start using a password vault soon. GitKraken, Datadog, Scrimba, another learning platform. There's all these things available on here that you get just from being a part of it. And of course, StreamYard, which is funny because we're not on StreamYard right now, are we? We're on something else. New Relic, if you're looking to do some whatchamacallit? Oh, what does New Relic do? Observability, some telemetry. You want to get some better insight into your logs. Travis CI, if you want to do CI/CD. So there's so much on here that's available for you, and I really encourage all of you to apply for this. Now, you might be asking, well, hey, how do I apply? Well, I will take you. Well, I'm going to give y'all a URL real quick. So let me type this very quickly into our private chat that we have here on the stream. And this is a link for everybody here. It's gh.io/devathon24x. And when we go to that page, that takes us directly to the application page. Now, when you are applying for the Student Developer Pack, this is where you're going to do it. You're going to select student. You're going to double check that these are the things that are accurate for you. You already have a GitHub account. You're 13. You're enrolled in a degree or diploma granting course of study, and you can provide documentation from your school that demonstrates your current student status. Now, before you begin, before you just go, I'm ready, scroll down, continue, let's do this, I want to make sure you see that there's a bunch of you got to double check. Supported browser, that's Safari, Chrome, Edge. I use Arc. Generally speaking, the popular browsers are going to be fine. But you want to make sure that location services are not being blocked. We use location services to verify that you as a student are actually geographically close to the school that you're saying you attend. And that's to stop fraud. We want to make sure that people aren't saying, yeah, I attend this university that gets has all these great students, but there's actually someone from a completely different place. They have no affiliation. So we do check geolocation, but it's not that you can't get it. Like, there are students who do distance learning. There are students who do online learning. That's all fine, but that's one part that can help make sure that you're going to get the pack. You want to fill out your billing information on your GitHub account. I'm going to say this very loudly to make sure everyone hears it. We will not secretly charge you money when you set up billing information. That's not what it's for. It's only that people who tend to want to commit fraud are a little less likely to want to put a credit card up, are a little less likely to want to fill out the billing information. They're a little less likely to do all these steps. So just make sure that the billing information is filled out. You do not have to add a payment method there, but the billing information should be filled out. You want to verify your academic email address if your school provides one. Your school does not have to provide an email in order to get the Student Developer Pack. It does make it easier if your school does, because we can verify that it's an email for the school. We can then more easily verify that you actually attend that school, but it's not required. But if your school has an email that they provide you, it's probably a very good idea to verify your academic email address on the GitHub account. I don't think it has to be the main email. I think you can sign up with whatever email you want, and then you add the academic email to your account. Two-factor authentication. First off, if you're living in 2024 and you're not 2FA literally every website that you are on where they've got your information, you're doing it wrong. I used to work at a cybersecurity company. It's dangerous out there. Be safe. Put two-factor authentication on. One of the easiest ways to do two-factor authentication on GitHub is to have the GitHub mobile app on your phone. That's an easy way to do authentication. However, I have seen people accidentally get like locked out because they switched phones and they didn't move it over. So be very careful about that. I use like Authy or like one of those authentication services where you have to scan a QR code and set up the 2FA. I just tend to prefer that. Lastly, you should be personalizing your GitHub profile of your GitHub profile. It should have a real photo of you. That's really helpful, actually. And in fact, I'll go ahead and show you my profile. I love having my picture up there. I love having a little bit of information about me. I have this picture because I'm like, back when I used to got my first laptop, I used to have this on there, the ThinkPad, and I thought it was the neatest thing ever. I can't believe ThinkPad still does it. But like, this is me. Like, it's a little bit about me.
Yeah.
Was there a question?
What does that ball in the middle do? I've never really understood that. That's on
so
my
the
laptop
IBM
as well.
ThinkPad red mouse button. Basically, it's something on like the IBM ThinkPads, and it lets you control the mouse, and it's right in the middle of the keyboard. It's really, really old school. Some ThinkPads still have it, but it really is like it's kind of a funny, the red nub. Come here. And it lets you move the mouse like that. I never got used to it. It always made me feel kind of weird.
I mean,
but it's so much easier to use a trackpad or like, an actual mouse. But this was back, I mean, that was 1997, 1998, I think we were doing that. I know y'all think computers didn't even exist back then, but like we did. They just did not have a lot of room on them. So, make your profile yours. If you just go to a generic GitHub profile and it looks like a fake person, you're less likely to get, approved. So let's go to, where was I? Here. So personalizing the profile photo, name, whatever you want to put on there. And then you might have noticed that my profile looked a little bit different than maybe the average one. I did put a README on there. And this is, if you haven't made a GitHub profile README, I highly recommend it. Essentially what it is a repository that all it contains is a README, and it's named the same thing as your username. And you just fill out the README however you want, and that's what shows up on your profile page. Without it, it's just a bit generic. And I'm sure I've seen so many of y'all's profiles and so many of the students who participate and stuff like that. Y'all already knew about this, I'm pretty sure. But it does help a little bit when you are signing up for the Student Developer Pack. All right. After that, you start here. You put the name of your school down here, and then you click continue. And then that shares your location, blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and move through and move to this next part of the application. Once you get in there, it's going to ask you to upload proof of your academic status. This can be a student ID that should include a date somewhere that verifies the current enrollment. We know that not every student ID provided by a school has that on it. So if the student ID doesn't work, we will take a transcript or a letter from the school that has a date on it that does say that you're enrolled. Basically anything that can prove that you're a real student at a real school and you're really going there right now. That's what's going to help. Here's a quick sort of tip for y'all. When you go to upload the proof, it'll say take a picture. Now, in this case, it opens up my camera. That's exactly what we want to happen. It's much better to take the photo directly rather than to upload a previously taken photo, because people who are engaging in fraud will prefer to upload a photo because they spent a lot of time in Canva, which I've seen videos of people doing this, making fake student IDs. So if you're doing it live and holding up the ID or holding up something to the camera so that it can see it, that's going to be way better. Many of you will also be doing this application on your phone. So just clicking that, opening up the camera, taking the picture, that's really the best way to do it rather than uploading a picture. And then up here you say, what's the proof type? Is it an ID? Is it a syllabus? Is it a receipt from the bursar? Is it a class schedule? Is it a financial aid letter? Whatever it might be, you can let me know. But you'll notice next to it that the different ways that we rank it. The ID is absolutely the best way to do it. An ID is the best form of proof you can use. After that is a official or unofficial transcript. That's the second best. You'll notice down here you can do it, but it might be a little harder to get verified if all you have is a receipt from the bursar. But it's not impossible. Okay? So let's say you do that and then you say process my application. That's literally it. Upload the proof. Make sure your profile has all those things I asked for before. Remember, these are the things that really make it work. And then that gets you access. It takes anywhere between 48 to 72 hours for it to process. We have some automation and some manual work that goes into it. But that's how you apply. That's the whole process to apply. Abdullah, do you have any questions or anything you want to do before I keep going? I know that there's a bunch of people in the chat as well.
Now, let's see if we have some questions here. Well, I have one that I'm sure a lot of people are going to face, and that is when you put your school name there, is it going to check from a list of somewhere, or do you just put it and it just does that? Yeah.
Comes up with a list.
Yeah. And what if your school's not there? Is there any process to go?
I believe we have, like, most of the degree granting institutions are in here. For instance, put in the chat what your school is, and I'll see if I can find it in here.
Can you check FAST? FAST FAST.
FAST fast.
Yeah, I think it would have a lot of, because it's taking from the Facebook links, I think. So it would pick up a lot of the schools that are there. So
yeah. So there's like this one, the official one, Islamabad, and then still Facebook. So if it's a school, like we want to make sure we have it. So looks like we've got a lot of schools here. Oh yeah, look at that. Well done. So yeah, if it's not there, you can open up a support ticket on GitHub. You can check education, and we have a special support section specifically for Student Developer Pack stuff. And you can say, I can't find my school, it's not listed, and they can start working with you on it then. But it's probably going to be there. Like 95% chance it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Rad. Okay. I want to talk about, let's see. Here we go. Some common rejection reasons. This community discussion that's available is, I'm gonna do a quick scroll here. Huge. There's lots of information in here. And if your Student Developer Pack application is rejected, the most common reasons it's rejected are here in this URL. So I want to make sure that I get that to the people running this, and then we can disperse that among the attendees as well. But it's usually something like, oh, the documentation wasn't really good enough. The picture was too blurry. It didn't have your name. The photo didn't really look like you. There's a bunch of things that it can happen. But basically reading through this will help you troubleshoot it yourself. If none of this works, if the FAQ doesn't help you and you're still getting rejected and you're a legit student, you can open up a support ticket with GitHub support, and we can start troubleshooting a little more deeply, like see if something's going on. But oftentimes it'll tell you like an error, or it'll tell you some specific reason. And if that happens, then you can go here and see what can help spur that application along. So this is a very important website to see. Getting the benefits, this is how you apply. Last thing, I want to talk about what also comes with it. We talked about all this access to other tech, and that's super awesome, right? But you also get on your account GitHub Pro. Your very GitHub account gets upgraded to GitHub Pro. So GitHub Free is, you get community support, means you can make discussions. You get Dependabot a little bit. But once you become a verified student, you get GitHub Pro. Now you get support via email. Now you get 3,000 actions minutes per month. So if y'all want to start building really cool CI/CD pipelines, if you want to start automating some stuff for your projects, You've got 3,000 minutes to do that with every month. You also get 2 gigabytes of packages storage. And this one really excites me. I do not like working locally. Anytime that I have to open the actual VS Code on my laptop and use git pull and push and fetch and actually keep my local and my remote repository synced, that makes me crazy. I am a code spaces guy through and through. I would way rather open code spaces on GitHub. And if you have GitHub Pro, you get 180 hours of code spaces per month. You also get 20 gigabytes of storage inside of code spaces. And you get some advanced tools as well. Multiple pull request reviewers. You can have protected branches. You can label code owners. Like I mentioned, you get access to GitHub pages, wikis if you want it. And in addition to all of this, for students, you get GitHub Pro plus Copilot. And if you've got Copilot, you can use Copilot Chat in VS Code. You can use Copilot, not workspaces, but you can use Copilot autocomplete. Those are some things that you get access to that are really, really, really neat. And like that's really the student developer pack. Like there's so much here, and I know it can be really overwhelming. Like I showed you earlier, all this stuff that you're getting down here, you're not going to use it all. But I recommend at least once you get approved, and I will go ahead and like send you all this URL as well. Let's start there. Boop, 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 boop. Once you're here, I really recommend checking out an experience first. Like, okay, maybe like let's do this, learn more about intro to open source. This is an experience. It tells you how to use the resources. It tells you about what you can get from open source, which is an amazing open source community and tool. And it gives you all the stuff that will help you understand open source a little better. So following the links in that experience can really help you learn more about it. Or let's say I mentioned earlier about security. You really want to get into security and monitoring. This experience and this overview can help you get better in security specifically, right? Like, oh, I really want to learn about using New Relic. It's free New Relic. What do I do with it? You can get support from them. Keep your passwords clean. Keep your passwords not similar. Stuff like that. So I recommend once you've got it, pick an experience that you think would be interesting to you. AI prompting, messing with Copilot, career readiness. Like one of these things will catch your interest. Click into it and start messing around with the stuff that comes with it and learn by doing. It's really the best way to get better.
Yep. So people are asking, once a student gets this pack, how long will they have access to it?
Yeah, I believe it's like 2 years. That's a really solid question. I've always been excited about getting people to just have it. I think you just get it for like a pretty long while, like at least 2 years, and then we run a check to sort of make sure that you're still at the institution. I definitely know I've met a couple students recently that were like, oh, I'm graduating soon. I don't know. And I was like, oh, you haven't graduated yet? Get it now. Because like we don't stop it when you graduate. It's like a year or 2 years out that we even check to see where you're at anymore. So if you're about to graduate or this is your last year, definitely get it. Definitely get it so you can get those rewards and opportunities ASAP so you don't lose them once you graduate. Because once you have graduated, you can't get it. But if you get it like the month before you graduate it, you've got it for a long time after you graduate.
Yeah. So Farhan saying it's for 2 years. So like you said, once you get it, it's even if you graduate, you can still have access to it for the next 2 years. So that's a pretty great thing. One more question.
I think it's 2 years. I think.
Yeah. So if someone is just starting out with coding, which resources do you recommend they get?
Let me see. Hackathon in the cloud data. If you're just getting started, like you've never done anything, I would recommend things like let me get in there. Codidex, which is a learning platform, and like let me show y'all Codidex. Codidex is a lot of fun. It's all like 8-bit video game, and you can do like you can learn Python. SQL, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. They just added p5.js. You can learn Git and GitHub there. And it's like a game that you do. Teaches you how to use Git commands, has you practice it, and like it lets you mess around and learn. Similar to Codedex is educative. Oh no, yeah, there we are. Educative. And Educative is a learning platform as well. Educative also offers Python and Java. There's a bunch more languages here. You can learn AWS there if you want. There's also skill paths you can do that are specifically about like, oh, I want to get better at Java for coding interviews, or the meta coding interview, or the Apple coding interview in C++. There are these modules there that you can do. Those don't come with the Student Developer Pack. The Student Developer Pack only comes with certain access here. And I forget what that total offer is. Let me see if I can get there in there. You get 6 months of free access. And then if at any time you decide to buy that subscription, you can get a 30% discount. But for the initial 6 months, you get it for free. So I'd recommend like the learning stuff, like Intro to Web Dev is an experience. And that can be a great overview. It's got educative so you can learn. It's got some curriculum stuff, and as well as Bootstrap Studio, DigitalOcean, Azure, all these other opportunities that can help you learn. But I really recommend Codedex and Educative for sure for someone who's just getting started.
So does it have also some features that allow students to network and collaborate with each other?
If you have GitHub Pro and like a bunch of other students all get the Student Developer Pack, working together in repositories and inside of projects and stuff becomes easier because now you've got more tools. So I kind of recommend using GitHub as like a collaborative tool and giving, doing projects with friends and say, oh, I've been working on this. Give your friend access to the repo, work on it together, learn how to do commits and how to do pull requests and all that kind of stuff. Because if you're learning alone and only working on your own code and never with anyone else, when you go to try and get a job, if you've never worked with a group, that will be an issue, right? But if you can show, oh, I've been working in groups of people and working in open source and stuff, GitHub is the collaborative tool. Like you can get on GitHub with other people and use it collaboratively is what I would recommend.
So I'm looking for more questions here. I'm just going.
I saw Nayab on LinkedIn said initially rejected, but I didn't receive any email. If you want to check your application status, if it's been like more than a week and you didn't get any kind of email after you applied again, you can go to support and just say, hi, like I applied for a student developer, like tell them the whole story. I was initially rejected. I reapplied, but I never received that other email. You can also, when you go here and you go to sign up, if you've already applied, somewhere on this page, it'll be like, oh, you've already applied. You've already applied. And you've already applied twice or however many times it'll usually tell you.
Okay, so one person has asked, can I get Azure access for one time or will it keep recurring?
Let's take a look at the Azure access. Let's see. Let's go here and let's see what Azure has. Go down to the actual, yeah. So it looks like you get free access to 25 plus Azure Cloud Services plus $100 in Azure credit. So mostly you're getting Azure credit, mostly. Like you get access to some of the services and then you get the credit. With that, since you have a credit, just be careful because sometimes you can set something up and keep it spinning. And, maybe you are hosting a website on there and then you forget about it and then you run out of credits and now it's asking for you to pay. That's true of all cloud services. So be very careful with whatever you're spinning up when you have credit. But I imagine that it's free access for as long as you have the Student Developer Pack. And then there'll be At a certain point when you're no longer a student, that access would likely change afterward. But that's the basics you get with there.
So Nayab now says your request was approved. Your benefits will be available soon.
Yeah, that means you were approved, and that means that in around 48 to 72 hours, you should be able to access your Student Developer Pack benefits. You will probably get an email announcing, here's your Student Developer Pack benefits, or here's where to go next. If it's a week, Nayab, and you've got that, you were approved, but it's not quite there yet. If it's been more than a week, go ahead and write to GitHub support and double check with them to make sure that it's working, or go to community discussions, which is, I think it's /community. Yeah, this is a good place to go to ask some questions as well. Is github.com/org/community discussions. That's a place where you can upload discussions about a bunch of things. You can see issue with verifying academic affiliation. Like GitHub Education has all of these things here, you know? So lots of places where you can get help.
So some student is asking, I have just started my coding journey and I would like to know how I can use this facility to create a stellar CV.
Yeah, if you're looking to make a CV, let me see, get back to my bennies here. Do we have Canva on here still? No Canva. Let me think about that.
I'm not sure, but I think I did so.
Honestly, the most important part about a CV is what's on it. So if you can get a bunch of certifications, like let's say you are, you know, you want to get really good at Travis CI. Like, oh man, I just really want to learn Travis CI and get really good at that. You know, I think that that's a thing that you put on your CV. Oh, I'm experienced with these tools. So the Student Developer Pack won't help you write a CV or make a really good looking resume, but it will give you skills that you get to put on the CV. I really like Canva. It's not included, but I built my resume with Canva. I'm a big fan of it. And in fact, this is my resume. This is my CV. And like I just built it on Canva and added all this stuff on here. You know, all of this stuff here would be empty if it wasn't for the skills that I built by learning online and stuff like that. So I recommend using the developer pack to build your skills and build the things you know how to do. And that's what's going to make your CV really cool.
Farhan says, I am going to copy it and apply at GitHub.
Don't copy my resume. You can't change out that picture. They'll know because the biggest section of experience on there is 11 years as a high school English teacher, because that's what I did for most of my career before I got into tech.
So what other tips would you like to give to beginners or even intermediate coders who want to take their journey to the next level?
Yeah, honestly, these learning platforms, like I mentioned Codedex before, like maybe you're already better at Python than this is giving you, but having, you know, doing these tests and doing these sort of like, let me step back. If you've learned something only one way, go and learn in another way from a different person. Like if you've only learned inside your classroom from the teachers at your school, take the same basics and go learn it on another platform. Go to Codedex, go to Educative, you know. These places, they're presenting information in a slightly different way. And that slightly different way could help you understand something better or even give you an idea of what to do after. I really think that these online learning places, the ability to like take these online learning services and use them for yourself will help you so much. Like it will help you so much to learn from many different places. Just keep going. You know, like if you feel like you're good at Python, pick another language. If you feel like you really get development, go into ops, you know, go mess with CI/CD, go mess with observability, go play with DevOps tools and go see what else you can do. Just the best way to learn and get better is to go out and do it, right? We're in an era of the world where there's so much information available that it's so much it can be overwhelming. You don't have to do everything. You do not have to do everything. In fact, let me go to slides.google. Let me go here. No, not that. Hold on. Boop. This. Go to my personal slides. I gave a talk on getting started in cybersecurity for a company called ProjectDiscovery out of India. I used to be their community manager, and they did a conference talk. And one of the things I talked about in getting into security, this is an example of all the certifications you can get just in cybersecurity. And it can be really overwhelming to think about having to get all of this. You don't have to get everything. You don't have to learn everything. But picking something new and just diving into the one thing, don't go broad, go deep on subjects, Try something different. You don't have to have all this. Guy giving this presentation, he doesn't have all of these, right? So I remember giving the advice. I was like, if you think like that's really confusing and scary, no, it is. You don't have to do all of that. That's like, there's an expression in English called putting the cart before the horse. You're doing things out of order. You don't have to think about the end result. You have to think about your next step, right? If you're trying to get from A to Z, your next step isn't Z, it's B, right? If you're trying to get to 1 million from 1, the next step from 1 is 2, not 37, not 1,556, not 4. Like it's the next step is the next step. So don't get ahead of yourself. Just take the very next step in learning. Follow the natural progression of this online learning and see where it takes you.
Yep. So Adnan from LinkedIn asks, the only problem is that there is no upload image option and only take a picture option. We can only upload the student ID card, but they ask for another picture. What should we do about it? And both the images do not have the option to upload, and they don't submit application on single photo. They want both photos. I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to upload an image and it's not letting him do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would say I've seen people take pictures of their screens. So like on the laptop, you open up your transcript and then you're filling out the application on your phone and you're taking a picture that way. Don't do a virtual camera. Like if you have OBS, it lets you like use a virtual camera. Don't do that because that's a high fraud activity. But taking pictures of computer screens with your phone, like you're a 60-year-old person just taking pictures of the computer screen, and my dad sends me those all the time. That works. It's proving something. So that would be my recommendation. I know it's much harder and a little convoluted, but I promise that the benefits are really worth it. And if you're still having trouble, reach out on support. I end up helping with those tickets like kind of often. But we do want to make sure that we can get, legitimate students the benefits as often as possible, while still protecting ourselves from, fraudulent people who are pretending to be students, which there's a lot of them.
So some students are saying that they want to compete against one another. Is there some way that they can run a contest here or some tool here that helps them make a contest?
We do have a hackathon in the cloud experience here. So this is about organizing, promoting, and communicating the next CodeFest or Hack Day. This is like, how would you use it? So this is you get the Major League Hackathon Organizer Guide. It gives you a bunch of opportunities to like get all this together. But really, this is the Organizer Guide is really going to help you a lot. So the idea of like putting together a hackathon, this is like how could you use this? How could you do it? Someone else I saw in the chat about data science. Yeah, data science and machine learning over here experience. giving you Datadog, MongoDB, SQLgate, DeepNote, DataCamp. Like these are some of the things. If you put these together, it can help you learn more about data science and machine learning. There's no hackathons included because like a hackathon is just an event, really. So yeah, it's not for Mohammed's question on LinkedIn. Hackathon can't be included because a hackathon's like an event, but the hackathon in a box is sort of like if you want to start organizing a hackathon.
Yeah, maybe we'll do our next edition on here.
Maybe. I mean, you're already using Restream, so you've got the online streaming going for sure, very easily. How many locations are you streaming to? Because I only see the LinkedIn comments coming in, but like, are you doing it on YouTube and Twitch too?
Yeah, we are doing on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram as well.
Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? All right,
Yeah.
More questions.
So
yeah. Someone asked about DevOps, developer operations. This is the CI. Sentry is in here. Browser stack, dev cycles, feature flags. Highly recommend learning about feature flags. Code Sense and New Relic. This is almost the full DevOps stack, honestly. You've got writing code, CI/CD, errors and observability, feature flags, more observability from New Relic. Like there's a lot in here that's very DevOpsy.
And so there's a lot of features here, honestly, and it's probably going to take us a few lifetimes to go through all of them. My question to you is, what's the worth of all of these for a student?
Like the least valuable?
Yeah. No,
I mean, think
in total.
Honestly, the only thing that I feel like I would have a hard time with is Terminus because it's mobile terminal. But Terminus is actually a really, really cool thing to have. Like a terminal on your phone is like a huge flex. So like I wouldn't find it as useful because I don't want to type in a terminal on my phone. But Terminus is a good client and it's really useful to have for some people. I know people who do use Terminus on the phone. Yeah, I really. Oh, they have a Pomodoro on here?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good. Yeah, so not everything is like explicitly developer focused. Like Pomodon is a Pomodoro timer that just helps you manage your time better. Yeah, look at that. That's more learning. 1 month is another learning platform. Mailgun for it's kind of like an email client that lets you use an API. Gosh, there's so much on here. An open source library of Octacons, all of our GitHub open source UI stuff. Look at that, man. There's so much on here. Interview Cake, learning coding interviews. I don't even know all this stuff.
Fantastic. Has someone like find out what it costs? Like all of these features, if you were to buy them one by one, what would be the cost? Has anyone?
If you do it one by one at 13 years old and you keep it for the next generally 10 years, it's about $100,000 worth of software over time. So call it, $10,000 a year. Would you rather spend $10,000 a year getting access to all of this, or would you rather have it for free? Probably free. I don't want to spend $10,000 on it. I'll be honest.
Yeah. So PJ, thank you so much for this session. And if there's any ending notes you would like to drop for the students here in Pakistan.
It's a really cool time to be learning tech. And I think it's exciting that in the modern era, we're seeing a much more global reach for people that are learning tech and learning to code. I really believe that knowing how to code and knowing how computers are built and made, whether or not you're going to be a developer or an engineer, I think that's one of the most important skills we're going to have as we continue into the future. With AI, a lot of people think AI is going to replace developers. But I've seen this said all over the internet. AI isn't going to take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI well is going to. And I believe the only way to know how to use AI well is to have a strong background in coding and writing, because AI is only as good as the person who's using it. If someone handed me a chainsaw, I don't know that I'd be able to use it safely or well to take down a tree, because I don't have the skills necessary. So it's important to build these like base skills, because as we move forward, we're going to need people who can like help make sure AI is doing things correctly, right? Don't let AI build an app and push it to production, because that's just asking for trouble. You got to tweak it and mess with it. But I feel like there's more opportunities in the world now than there have been before around tech. And I just hope that that trend continues, because I'm really excited to see what all the students in Pakistan and around the world can do.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll see you again, inshallah. See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.